who would be interested.
Great. What's her name? Maybe she contacted me.
You know her. I think you know her. Her name is Rian Gaffardi or
No, I didn't hear from her yet, but great.
well, I haven't connected you two yet, but I talked to her about it. She said she would be interested in teaching if you need another teacher or to be even on the sub list. So
Okay, great.
yeah,
Okay.
let's see. Maybe
So by recording this, this will allow people who join us later to have a little idea of what's going on, and then we'll have a little reference point to start from, because we have, and I'm glad Liz is here, because we have just a little bit of feedback, I guess, to go over.
Mhm.
Just kind of assess how that first term went. I also have a little map here, which I'll send to you guys, of course, but it shows the schools that we're going to be at. And the options for you, Melissa, are really, you can take over Liz's class at Stratton Meadows in mid-February, and that will allow you could go for the first two. So in other words, so Liz is leaving.
And my yeah, so I'm happy to teach next, like the first 2 weeks of the term if needed, but I'm also happy to let the other person take over immediately, or shadow me for a day or something.
Yeah.
But it's not actually at Stratton Meadows. It's at Meadows Park Community Center, which is right next door.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And the cool thing about my site is it's a rotating group, so as well as a challenge, but I think it's unique. So it's not the same kiddos every week. There's 3 or 4 different groups of kids that rotate. Yeah.
So you only see a group like once a month?
Yeah, so I repeated a lot of lessons. I would do like 2 weeks the same thing, as long as they were rotating. So I would have to take like the planned lesson and then the backup lesson, because my last 3 weeks that were there, 2 or 3 weeks, I had the same kids in a row. And that was from one of the charters. So I never really knew what I was going to get, if I was going to be able to do the same lesson or if I needed a different lesson, based on which group I was going to have. So it's K through 5. So it's a big range, and it is divided by grade. They do like 2 or 3 grade levels in a group. So that is nice.
Yeah, so it's not like super different in like the age gap isn't that wide.
No.
Right,
like
yeah, not within the same group.
Right.
Yeah, they group their grades together. Like I think I had like kindergarten through 2nd, and I think I had maybe 4th and 5th graders together. I'm not sure where the 3rd graders were, or if they just weren't that many. I don't know.
Yeah.
But definitely K through 5 total.
So this group is better for that. The District 2 schools are better for that, for separating. When we do after school classes in a regular elementary school, not in the daycare program, then we usually get K through 5 in the same class. But
yeah, that's a big range.
But it's kind of a different crowd anyway, so it's
and that's possible that they might want to do that in this one, just depending on who's interested this semester, because the directors at the center really wanted everybody to get a taste of it, and so they might want to do the same group every time now. They might want to mix K through 5. I don't know. I would ask Amber and see what the plan is.
Yep. So the good thing about that class is that Amber is the director of the program, and she's also at Meadows Park. So we don't have any other schools where the director is also the director of the whole thing. So she kind of has an eye on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other teachers you get to know that rotate with their groups. So the staff there are really nice. I've met like all the after school, like it's kind of like a classroom. Like there's 2 teachers. Like I don't know about teachers, and that's what I call them. There's 2 people assigned to each of their groups, and so it's kind of like I don't know, it's a cohort.
Good. And the kids in the teachers in your group, I feel like the anchor woman. I love this. So
Yeah,
tonight,
there's always one other teacher with you with the kids.
and do they interact? Do they do the yoga with them?
Sometimes it depends on which teacher it is. There's an older teacher who just kind of sits in her chair, mostly is there for an autistic child, a deaf child, and like for those students. And there's some younger teachers too. There's some teachers there that are actually high school students. And they sometimes do the yoga, and they're kind of like your teacher aide to help pass out papers and stuff. So
Good.
It's a nice setup. It's a nice setup.
The most success that I've had, and I've been at maybe 3 of the locations. The most success that I've seen is where the staff is participating, obviously.
Yes,
you
me
know,
too.
there are some where the staff will be kind of out, out on the edges, looking in, and if they're not taking care of a particular student, they're probably distracted talking to their friends and stuff. It's really difficult, and I have had to say something a few times because it's just really hard to conduct a class that way. So I'm going to give a recap, even though you probably know. Liz, can you mute yourself until you're?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So I'm just going to go over the history for not only us here, but anybody who might watch the video in the future. So this started last fall, September, and it's the first free before and after school childcare in elementary schools in Colorado Springs. So we're really, that could be a really big deal. We've got 200, 300 kids maybe in the program across the 5 schools or 6 schools. And obviously they're continuing it for this year, so that's good. They got more money, so we hope that's a good sign. When we also hope that other schools are going to see this and say, oh, we need to do this too. Do this free after school care, especially for working families. So I'll send you all this. I wasn't thinking about sending out information first, so I apologize, but there's a little packet for you guys anyway. And it talks about when we invoice on the 3rd of the month and where to send it and what to add on. If you need materials and things like that I haven't provided you and you buy them on your own, just go ahead and bill us for that. Just send a receipt or whatever is the simplest way. Meetings with teachers and after school providers are going to be available this coming week. So Liz, for example, probably wouldn't have to go meet with Amber in her space because she's already seen it. She knows where the mats are and all that stuff. But for new locations and new teachers, so that would be Audrey taking on a new location and Melissa and me we will, once we pick a school and a day, then we'll be able to set up an appointment with to visit them during this next week. So preferably on the day that you're going to teach. So Melissa, if you chose
Wednesday.
If you chose Wednesday with Liz, you probably don't even have to go because you would go with her and she'd fill you in on everything. But if you picked a different school, we'd set up an arrangement where you could go on the day that you're going to teach. And
I mean, I'm open, if preferably to get a school that's close to where I'm at, just so I don't have a 30-minute commute. I did look at Stratton Meadows, and that's 28 minutes away. So I guess whichever one is like the farthest up north, like northeast.
It might be that, or it might be Centennial. Looking at the map, it would be one or the other. And one is off Circle.
So Centennial is going to be probably farther from you if you're coming from the north, because you're going to have
that's 28 minutes too.
I would do Stratton because it's closer to 25 if you're taking 25.
I-25.
Yeah.
I mean,
Much
Which
closer.
direction are you north? Are you toward
I'm
25 or are
Powers
you
and
more towards
Research.
Powers?
I'm
Oh,
Powers
well
and
then
Research.
Centennial might be better actually.
Yeah.
Because there does get some traffic around the circle area around Stratton Meadows, especially when you're leaving.
Okay.
A little bit when you're coming, but not so much. It's mostly when you're leaving. So I would recommend Centennial based on your location and based on my knowledge of working in D2 and living in D2.
Okay. Okay. And that one is Centennial available on Wednesday? Can I do that?
Yeah,
on
they're
Wednesday?
available any days we pick pretty much, and maybe.
Okay.
So far, what I understand is we pick the day in the school and then they work around us.
Cool. Okay.
If
So
you
I'll
want
probably
to
go
do-
with Centennial then. You can pencil me in for that.
Okay, great. All right, and then I would set up something for you this coming week if that works for you on Wednesday. Does that work for you?
Let me see.
Or I can give you the information and you can set it up yourself, but
I mean, whatever works best for you. I'll just have to make sure, so this would be around the same time, right? So like 4:15.
probably, right, you could really come as early as maybe, what time do they get out, Liz? 3:30?
Yeah, and I don't know how it is at the other locations, but they do like a snack and stuff. So I would say 4:15 to 5:15 is the
Right.
ideal window
Fine.
to actually do the class. So I would arrive about 4. Whenever I arrived before 4, they weren't really ready. They usually had a snack going on. And
Yeah.
when I worked at Atlas, they had snacks too. So I would just check in with your coordinator and see what their after school routine is. And their timeline, but I would estimate 4:15 to 5:15 would be a good actual class time and arrive about 4.
Okay.
Yep, that sounds about right. And Melissa, if you want me to, I can, well, we can talk about that later. But anyway, I'm gonna pencil you in for Centennial. Okay,
Okay.
on Wednesdays.
And then for today, for like this week, I just have to check with Nate and see if, well, for this like intro, maybe I just take the girls with me.
Yeah,
You know what I
would.
mean? Like I'll pick them up from school and then I'll just take them with me. Cause it's like, it's not like I'm teaching, I'm just getting familiar with the space, meeting the people that I'll be in contact
I
with.
would definitely feel comfortable bringing kids to
Okay.
that.
But I'm just gonna bring them to this one. So I could do Wednesday. I would just, I would pick them up and then, so they're in Monument. So then it'll be, I probably would be down there around like 4:15. It's
Okay.
probably the soonest I could get there.
Okay, that's great. And no
Okay.
rush. Well, I'll confirm that for you and then I'll get the person's name too. Amber usually sends me a list of the contacts at the school, so
Perfect.
we know who's
That
who.
works.
Yep, and I don't know that person yet at all. We haven't done a Centennial class yet, so that'll be brand new for us.
Okay.
I also have some mats for you.
Okay.
So we'll arrange to get mats. And Liz, if you have, do you have extras, or you have pretty much the amount you need for your class?
Yeah, there's only 16 at the location I'm at, and we use
Okay.
pretty much all of those, or maybe 14 if it's a smaller class.
Okay, so keep those, just so you have if you have your eyes open, anybody who's donating some mats, let me know or grab them. I have 10, I believe, for you to start, Lissa, so.
Okay. And I've got a few that I could always bring from my stock. I've
Okay.
got.
Right, I'll dig up a few more, so I think we'll have plenty for you, but we'll meet
Yeah, I
up,
think I've got 4.
we'll meet up before February 1st.
Okay, so that was my next question, was this is starting the 2nd, right? February 2nd? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And then that'll give me a little more time. Either Audrey will take over yours, Liz, after the first day. I think we should have one where you kind of, where they get to see.
Yeah, it'd be great to do a shared one on the 9th if you think that that's
Yeah.
possible.
I think that'd be good, yeah. And then, so Audrey will either take that, plus she's gonna do 2. She's gonna have Terman, which is already in existence, and either Stratton Meadows or Guyverson or Stratmore Hill. So anyhow, she'll have two, and then I'll have one. Okay, so I have a list of the days when you're teaching, the way to invoice, all that. And just a little, very, very brief history is that we were contacted through the city, through Meadows Park Community Center, to offer yoga. We're the first after-school programming that they've added. And hopefully they'll have more, like they'll get more funding and they'll be able to do maybe art or music or something else on a different day, but yoga is the first one, so that's awesome. And the goal is to, create such an experience that the kids in yoga notice an improvement maybe in behavior or attitude, or they get along better or whatever. These are all really big, lofty goals, but you never know. And if we can, make it such that teachers and parents notice that this is a good program for them, then maybe, we can finally get into the school itself and make this a necessity rather than a luxury for kids. So that's the big picture. The recap is, so Liz shared a little bit about, I had a big plan for last year, and it was based on the 8 limbs of yoga. And we were going to take each week or, each 2 weeks or whatever, and talk about a different part of yoga to explain that it's not just a physical activity, not just phys ed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And cover, well, here's breathing, and here's meditation, and here's focus, and here's the asana, and here. And it was a little lofty for this group. It was a little more than they were prepared for, than I was prepared to handle maybe. So it was immediately obvious to me that some schools are giving them a choice. Like, well, if you don't want to do yoga, you can go do playtime outside or something like that. And I agree with not forcing kids to do yoga if they don't want to, but I think that the comparison of the two things are really unrealistic. Like, I was forced to make yoga as fun as playing on the playground and as loose and unstructured as that. And yet I had kind of a structure to follow. So it was a little bit of a dilemma. And what I ended up doing to alleviate that was to make it many more games and activities than sitting and learning about our breath, or sitting and talking about an issue, or working on the emotional side of it. And I don't really regret that, but I found that the only way to compete, and it is kind of a competition with what they're going to do with their time, the only way to compete with that was to make it really active and fun. So a lot more games than I had planned, and much more craft and making stuff than I had planned. Both those things I like, so it wasn't a disappointment really, but it was it strayed from my original idea. And then, so Liz, what was
could I add on to that? Yeah,
please, that's what I'm here for sure.
Awesome. So I completely agree. I think that it was a real struggle to see even 4th graders and 3rd graders couldn't write their names. So I think avoiding writing to an extent, because, as much as I wanted to help as a tutor and as a teacher, as much as I wanted to help them practice their writing and have that academic enrichment there, it just wasn't realistic when you have 14, 16 kids and you're trying to teach them, and I have to trace my letters and that kind of thing. It's just unrealistic. So I think less writing, and I always gave them the option: you can write a sentence, a word, or a picture, or you can draw a picture. Mm-hmm. Whenever there was a question. We practiced read out loud. They are great at that. I think that, having taught in D2, I think it was really helpful for me to have those teaching skills, because you will lose your audience without them. And what I mean by teaching tools is I need everyone's pencils down in 3, eyes on me in 2, 1. Jemiah's eyes are on me. Nicole's eyes are on me. Thank you, Hazel, for having your pencil down. Like all of the positive narration that you can do, acknowledging what they're doing, and then saying, Marcus, are you ready? Lizette, put your pencil down, like whatever it is. And just having that flat tone. So I really, really recommend that with attention and behavior management. And yeah, I think giving them options if we are going to do writing, giving them the options. And I mean, like the hardest part was just this one girl crying one time when she couldn't write and spell, and that was really hard. And I told her, I was like, honey, it's okay, like you don't have to write. And you know, the other teacher had to help her too. And so I agree though, active stuff, they really want to move the whole time. They've listened all day. Okay, the structure of D2 is very regimented. It's very high structure. It's like literally, it is militant in some classrooms, and they are tired mentally and physically. They just want to move and they want to explore, and they need to be free to be themselves. And so I think that games are a great idea if you can build in lessons into the game. Like I would like to see, and I would like to build in more of that understanding of what yoga is and the limbs and stuff. I loved the activity, and I think the kids did too, where we had the slips of paper, like doing something nice for others, and like doing nice things for others is part of yoga. I loved that, and they really engaged with that, and they told me about it. Not everyone did it, but they were excited to take that little slip of paper home and like do something nice. And when you could just see the wheels spinning in their heads. So I think anything like that would be good to do again. Anything where there's like a lesson in the game, like I don't know. I'm not that creative, but hopefully that helps with like what to do. They loved coloring. They loved doing the scrapbooking thing that I did, where they made like a smile board, like what makes you happy. So anything like that would be good. They did not like story time. I did a story one time just to try it out, and I had 2 people by the end of it. So no stories. I did that once and not again. So yeah, I would avoid that.
Good to know. And
Any questions or follow-ups on that?
That's a really good point. Thanks. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, no, that I think it's so do you have these games somewhere to reference or to that I can like take a peek at? And
I have so many games.
oh, okay.
So
you could just email me and I can
I'll get you the whole packet, and
Okay.
then I'll give you 2 lists, and then you can just hand it off to whoever else.
Yeah, they really liked red light, green light with yoga poses. You just have to have a big enough space for it.
Right. Yeah. And so we have a lot of modified games, which I added a lot to this time around. And I also have an idea in that we can use our curriculum, the same curriculum we use for our after school classes in enrichment classes. So this is a little different because these kids are there for a longer period of time, and they're also not particularly signed up for yoga. They're not there specifically for yoga. But I thought, let's try doing some of the lesson plans that we have from our existing curriculum and see how that goes, as opposed to creating a whole new thing like 8 limbs of yoga and stuff like that. So
sorry, I just thought of something else.
Go ahead.
They really liked the meditation and visualization exercises we did. We only did them a few times, but those were really well engaged, and you could just feel the vibe of the room shift, and I thought that was really useful for them. And they love breathing exercises and understanding the why behind the breathing, and like, when should I do this? That did help. That was a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I usually started and ended with a breathing. or I started with a breathing and I ended with a meditation whenever I could. Yeah, those were really, really useful, I think, for them.
Okay,
They
okay,
have a lot
great.
of anxiety.
Yeah. And the number one thing that we want to teach is that we have more control over this stuff than we think. So,
Exactly.
the idea that we have ability to change our situation, to alter the way our nervous system works, or our brain is thinking, or the mood that we're in, that we have more power, and that's really what it's all about. So these are perfect, and to give kids examples of how it works, I think is perfect. So we can go over a little bit more about teaching yoga to children, although we all really have done that and trained in that, so we don't really need too much of that right now. In my class, I usually, number one is that we're safe. That's my number one thing. Nobody's doing, headstands by themselves when everybody else is doing Shavasana, and that we try to listen to each other and our teacher, to have more fun. So it's like, if you can listen to what I'm saying, we can have a lot more fun than if I keep having to remind you to sit down and whatever. So I have about 4 weeks planned out to start, and these are coming from a lesson plan called Peace Begins With Me. So most of this stuff is original and can use it any way that you like, and you'll get all the lesson plans for this. So we're not throwing you to the wolves or anything. In general, the first class is a lot about setting up the agreement for the whole time. What I do try to do is, when they come in, well, if they have a teacher there, it's not so bad, but if they're by themselves, like in some of our other classes, we have a little routine, like drop off your backpack, use the restroom, fill your water bottle, come back and sit on your mat, something like that, to have a little ritual for them every time, because that's part of the way of getting ready for class, pretty much. Otherwise, it can be really distracting if you have kids coming and going. Oh, coming and going, though, is another thing, right, Liz? They get picked up all during the time.
Yes, absolutely.
They can be leaving in the middle of an activity.
Yep. And they get so sad, and then I just send them home with the stuff so that they can try it on their own. And yeah.
Yeah, it's really disappointing, but that's how it is.
It happens.
Yeah, sometimes they sit down, they take their shoes off, and then their parents are there. So it's kind of silly, but it's okay. Then the next time, maybe they'll get more time or whatever. So get used to the distractions, that's going to happen. But the nice thing is the staff is there and they can take care of it. So they'll radio, send me.
Someone's mom is here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So basically what we want to do is we're going to alternate activities so that it's always moving. Nothing lasts longer than usually 5 minutes, none of the activities, because that's kind of like their attention span. And like Liz was saying, they've been sitting all day. They can't take sometimes just a few minutes of peace and quiet till maybe the end, and then when they're ready for it. So the newest thing I'm going to introduce to you guys is, Liz already, I already did it with Liz.
I think I have that too, the hand.
Yeah.
I use that for Pioneer.
Right, the Pioneer. Okay, so I still really like to use this in the first class. I think it's one of the little basics they can follow along with. So I have, I don't know, did we do the hand tracing with that, Lissa, or was it just the thing? Okay.
Well, I did both.
Yeah, that worked really well. The valleys and the highs with the in and out, and collaborate, or what is it? Combining all of it,
I thought so too. So let's keep that for first class, and if you want to use it later on, we can do it again later on too. So do different activities with the handprint or whatever. But I think that's that worked pretty well for me, and I'm keeping it in my repertoire. So let's see. So we do want to get across that yoga is more than just the movement. but not as intense as I thought we could do. I thought we could spend a class on it, but that's not going to happen. So basically when they say, well, when are we going to do yoga? You tell them, well, we are doing yoga. We're listening to the singing bowl, or we're doing our relaxation, or we're following our breath, or whatever. So let's just letting them know that this is all part of yoga, and that's what we're trying to teach. So I have a bunch of games and songs. The closing, usually we do a breath, we do a movement, we do a game, story, maybe not, an activity, and a closing, a relaxation. And these things can be in different orders, or you can always skip one if you need to, but that's kind of, we try to give them a little taste of everything. So a breath, a movement, a quiet time, a rowdy time, you know, all mixed up.
So what is the difference between a game and an activity?
Well, a game would be more like
Red light, green light with yoga.
red
That
light,
would be a
green
game.
light, freeze
Activity would be like coloring, or, okay, so like more crafty.
activity, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then I have tons of ideas in here, so you won't run out. Yogi
Okay.
said a good one for poses. They're learning poses, but they're also playing a game. Freeze dance with yoga poses. When I say freeze, when the music stops, I tell them to go into mountain pose or whatever. So they're really learning poses, but not, it's a game.
It's not like it's sequenced where one breath to one. Yeah, no, yeah.
Not necessarily. The only time I really do that is with our sun salutation. So I have a few different sun salutation poems and things that we use. And I think they like that because they can get the hang of it, and then they can teach it. So like little rhymes and things like that, and I'll send that to you as well.
Okay.
Yeah, my students really like the sun salutation, and I'm terrible with like remembering sequence. So I mean, it was a little different every time. I just have a bad memory with that. So, but the children loved it. Like they liked that fast-paced, like quick movement. That was cool.
And then they learn it and they can lead it. And you can do as many times as they want. That, you know, if they do 10 sun salutations, that's great for me anyway.
Have you ever incorporated like the tapping, like the tapping
Yeah.
to like help? Yeah, like there's, what is it here?
The area of
Yeah.
the meridians and
Meridians and channels,
yeah, energy medicine and all that.
Have you ever tried that with them?
Because I do have a little energy flow that I've done before, and it doesn't include all the tapping, but several parts it does. And then it also has some of the movements from Donna Eden's energy medicine with, you know, like massaging the crown and ear and the crossovers and all that.
Do they like that?
They try it. I don't know. You know, I mean, they're okay with, they follow through with it, but I don't know if anybody said, wow, that was really fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to try it and see.
Well, experiment.
Yeah,
It
experiment.
could be cool. I like to do tapping with shaking. So like get them going, shake it out, shake it off, and then come back standing Tadasana and like come into breath and just a little bit of tapping.
Yeah.
They probably, I don't think they recognize if they like it or not, but me as a facilitator and an instructor, it's cool to see the shift in the nervous system. And so I can see it, you know, so that was something.
I do frequently do the tapping here because I tell them it's for their immune system. And we talk about what that does. Your immune system is what fights off,
germs.
You know, germs and things that you don't want in your body. So it keeps you healthy and strong and, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And, you know, they do it. So I'm guessing they like it. Okay. But yeah, I would definitely incorporate that. You have a couple little clips to put, you know, little pieces to put together on that. I'm ordering 2 books for you guys. One is what does peace feel like? And that's a really sweet one written by kids. And the other one is peacemakers, which may or may not go over in this group. Just because it's more discussion and reading about famous people or people who did good things. And like Liz was saying, they just may not have the capacity for listening to it, and that's okay too.
I think discussion is good though, like asking them questions and relating to their personal experience. And I think like quick things would be fine. Like quick factoids or something about people, I think would be fine.
Okay,
and I
good.
think they love giving their opinion. They definitely
So like do
are
maybe
willing
a
to
little
talk.
circle share every once in a while, or like after if we did do a book or something, like let's talk about.
So
and
what
like
you're
sharing their
enjoying.
craft. Like at Thanksgiving when we did the 5 things we're thankful for, with the hand tracing and the breathing, like they love sharing that. So they want to share, they want to talk.
Okay.
yeah, they all want to say what like calms them down or what they need, you know. Everybody needs a turn in these groups for sure. Maybe more. The book that's coming is called Paths to Peace, and there are really interesting people there, so hopefully we can find one that they can relate to. And then the questions that go with it are something like what do I have in common with this person? What kind of challenges do I overcome that this person overcame and made a change? What do I need to be a peacekeeper or a peacemaker? So you'll get a little gist of that and see where you want to throw that into the class. The one, okay, so dealing with peace, which is our first 4 weeks are all peace. This is a heart full of peace, and you have a choice here to give them a plane. They can just decorate and fill it with oh gosh, you know, all the things like Liz said, make it with words, pictures, stickers, whatever that make
Stickers.
yeah. And then this one
So
is
is all of the supplies for that, like markers, crayons, stickers, is that stuff we have to bring?
I have most of it, and
Okay.
anything you want to add to it to buy, go ahead and purchase it and just put it on your bill.
I would love to give you some of my stuff, because the Meadows Park Community Center, like you really don't need to bring anything. They have markers and pens and stuff like that. So I would love to give you guys what I have.
Okay, that's great. That'd be perfect. So we'll have another kit of that. But I do have plenty more of that stuff. So there's enough to get started with markers, construction paper, few pairs of scissors, all that stuff for kids, and then at glue sticks, and then whatever you see missing, just either let me know and I'll get it for everybody, or just purchase it and just put that receipt in with your bill and add it to your bill. You need Bill Sean, and she'll, because we have a budget for materials, so don't feel like you have to buy it yourself, okay? So also copies, if you want. I didn't make extra copies yet because I don't know how many kids are going to be in the class, so it ends up being a total waste. I give somebody 25 and they have 10, and I give somebody else 10 and they have 30 kids. So I didn't make copies of the handouts and things, but I'm happy to do that. In fact, I get a really good discount for the group on it, so I'm happy to make them before. If you look at something and say, I'd like to do this next week, or if you make your own, just put it on the on the bill, okay?
The invoice, okay.
Yeah,
And then just remind me, that is when are we just billing for that hour? So from 4:15 to 5:15?
Right,
Okay.
we're billing for the class at $50.
Okay.
And so there is a little bit of prep work that we're not really literally getting paid for. So you could say you get $25 an hour for 2 hours or whatever you want to look at. But yeah, it's $50 per class. If there's any other trainings or things that we do, then that would be additional. But yeah, that's the deal right now. And that's kind of why we want to work out like the budget thing, like how much did we spend on extra things, because we want to make sure when we quote this in the future for other groups that we're being fair And the thing is, so Peaceful Warriors get $75 per class, and we pay the teacher $50, and then that 25 goes back to Peaceful Warriors. Of
Mhm.
course, it covers materials too, but hopefully we get a little off the top of that back
Yeah,
into
to go back into
to the organization.
organization.
So
Yeah.
should be good. Should work out. Okay, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see how it pans out, because you really don't know till you try it. So let's see. What is peace and what does peace feel like? Bunch of games here, options for the human knot for older kids. I don't know if we're doing anything like that because it's contact. So some of
Yeah, I would
these-
avoid that. And you have a mix of parents and how they feel. I think most of my kids did not wear masks. Most of the staff did not wear masks, and I would just try to avoid that.
Did you wear a mask?
Yeah. I
Did
did
you
not
wear a mask?
personally.
Okay.
I did not. And I think that's part of why I got sick. It was not COVID, but I got sick with something in October and I missed one class. But yeah, I mean, I think, but that's different. D2, last semester, you were required, but because I was at the community center, no one was required. But if it's at the school, I don't know what their current policy is, but you probably do, kids and everybody probably does have to wear a mask.
Yeah,
That was
it is
different,
masks
sorry.
right now at District 2.
Yeah.
For all
Yeah,
the
mine was
schools.
different at the community center.
Yeah, and I do wear them, and the kids usually wear them.
Yeah.
Ideally, we can go outside, we had a lot
Yeah.
of people we could go out, but it's a little chilly, but coming around 4:15. So
Mhm.
Yeah, but
by
going
5
down.
o'clock, it's
It
pretty
gets
chilly.
dark. Yeah.
It gets dark, but now it's getting better, so I'm hoping that
Mm-hmm.
anytime we go outside, they'll let us be outside. I've never had a problem with it. They always let us do that. And the mats are old, so we can bring the mats outside, and not a big deal. There should be a place for you to leave the mats at school too, Lisa, if that works for you. So that makes
Yeah,
it
that would be
really-
awesome if I.
makes it really nice. And you can even leave a batch of stuff if you want to leave a cart with your materials in it or something like that.
Yeah, even if it's the markers, right? Or the
Yeah.
stickers, handouts.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll work that out on your visit to the school.
Okay.
See if they have a place for that. Hopefully they do. That's in the contract, so hopefully we'll have that in every place.
Okay, good to know that in the contract though.
Yeah, it
So
is.
when you say it, or ask, where can I leave my props?
Yeah, I'm hoping you have a space set aside for me. I don't need a lot. But yeah.
Yeah, don't need a lot.
One of the games that I like, and it all depends on their age again, it's really different, but one of the games is Thorn Bud Rose. And I've added that into one of the lesson plans because I really like it. So we go around as a like an end of class kind of a sharing activity. The thorn, we share something like talking about plants, especially if you're into that. That's one of the themes in one of our lesson plans. But if you're talking about plants and things, like everything has the highlight, the bud, which is yet to happen, and the thorn, which is the unpleasant part. So we say, what's your thorn, bud, rose? So they have to think of something that they could improve upon, something that didn't go that well, something that they could make better. I didn't do well on my science report, and now I have to work on an extra credit project. My bud is that something that hasn't happened yet, but you're hopeful. My bud is that I'm trying out for the school play, or I'm gonna do sports I'm gonna play baseball in the summer, or something that hasn't happened yet, but it gives you hope. I'm going on vacation with my family, I'm doing something on spring break, whatever. And the rose is something positive that happened to you. You can do this for like today, for the past week, for forever, any amount of time. But I helped a friend with her homework, and that made me feel better. Or I talked to somebody on the playground, or it was my birthday and I got, a video game, whatever. So that's a kind of fun activity that does keep them involved, and they are sitting down and sharing, but they're not tied down to their seats, and they're not,
Yeah.
itching itching to move, right? So that's getting into the peace part. And then we get into gratitude and things that we're grateful for. Why does gratitude work? Gratitude actually kind of flips a switch in your head and gives you a different outlook on things when we can sit and do 3 things that we're grateful for, or something like that. So we can make or decorate gratitude journals. They can do a gratitude jar. We just bring in a jar, everybody writes something down, and then each week pick something out. They did like that kind of stuff. The other thing that Liz was talking about was, and this is another, this goes really well too, is pick a kindness. So I had a sheet of kind things they could do. We cut them up, we put them in a bowl. And their homework was before they went to pick one out. And they were really simple, like make a card for someone, or help with something without being asked, or
Hold the door for someone.
hold the door for someone. Really easy
Donate
things.
something. The donate one, by the way, I always told kids, like, get your parents' permission before you give something away. So make sure you mention that if you do like a donation or a give something.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at your toys, and if there's one you don't want anymore,
but ask your parents, ask your adult, whatever.
don't give your parents television away.
Yeah, or like mom's jewelry. Like even if it's their own toy, I just think permission,
I
first
agree.
is important. So
I agree, because that could have more value than we know, or something mom doesn't want to give. Yeah, totally. But it's nice to say, hey mom, I don't think I need these 3 teddy bears anymore. And mom will probably be very happy. But yeah, definitely ask your parents. Besides, you want the parents to know what you're doing too. So
Yeah.
So let's see, there's a couple, I'm just pointing out things that might be new. Okay, so peace begins with me mantra is a good one, and mudra. So can explain that yoga's things that we do with our hands, and kind of yoga that we do with our hands. And
they loved mudras at my site. I did a few of them.
good.
They really liked Dhyan Mudra, and I would definitely recommend like incorporating more mudras.
Okay.
They're just easy to do, and there are things that they can also do. If you emphasize this, they can do them at their desk, at school, and not bother anybody and not get in trouble, and like,
Right, just like deep breaths and things, they can do that without anybody noticing, or you're doing what you need to for you, but you're not distracting anybody else. Those are really positive things. A lot of kids are antsy too, so they like something like the Satanama, which is the same as peace begins with me. So it's just adding words that they can relate to and understand. So they can do this, we can do some where we do it together. The first 3 times we say it out loud, peace begins with me. And then the next time we whisper it, peace begins with me. And then the last 3 times we say it just in our head. So things like that. There's also some nice Satanama songs that you can, that they like sometimes. The right group will like it. And it's just a nice way to relax and listen to the music. Some of the older kids will even sing with it. It's very relaxing. So if you add music or something like that, that's totally great. Anything to keep them moving. So learning about how mantras.
So a speaker would be something I would want to put in my bag.
Yes, if you have a
like a I have got a Bluetooth little.
Yeah. Definitely, and do whatever Spotify or Yogi Tunes or whatever you like to use. I have lots of references too, if you don't have a lot, about Kira Wiley and Lori Berkner and a bunch of good musicians for songs that, especially for little ones. Older ones can be much more discriminating, and they would prefer to pick the music.
Yeah.
So if it's family friendly, I let them do that. If it's, whatever, if we have a game or something, if we do freeze dance,
free. Yeah.
So I try to find something that they would like, or I let them, if I trust them, I let them pick it sometimes.
Oh, Yeah, I could
I
see
know.
how that gets.
I have to check, listen, but most of them know, that there's.
I'll probably put together like a playlist that I could just like, even if whole thing the whole time, just have like a kind of a bank to go to. And I'm trying to think like, even like familiar songs, like We Are Family, like that song, like We Are that
Yeah.
song. Like
Yep.
it's not necessarily a yoga song, but it's something everyone knows.
Yeah, celebration, things
It's
like that.
played every,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a spell, yeah. So,
The happy song is, some kids still really like that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
things that create a mood of any kind are great. And
Okay.
nature sounds, if they're in going into Shavasana, sometimes it's easier to listen to something than it is to listen to silence.
Quiet,
So,
yeah.
you could listen for the animals or listen for the birds or whatever, to help them concentrate and focus. Okay, so there's some sun salutation ideas in here. Yoga charades is another fun way to learn poses. They could pick out an animal from a jar and then have people guess what it is, or they can do their own. They can make up their own. If they run out of ideas, you can give them some, tree, crow, dog, frog, whatever. So yeah, gratitude journals is in here. There's a few ideas for different relaxations, body scans, gratitude scans, like being thankful for your body, like I'm thankful for my legs for being strong, thankful for my hands for helping me draw and write and stuff like that. Just some new ideas on meditations, but you may also pick one that works and use it every time. Time for our
Repetition.
Yeah, so it totally depends, you read the group and remember that these kids will probably change each time. Sometimes you'll have one kid that's there regularly on Wednesday and then another day where they won't be there on Wednesday. So you'll probably have different kids coming and going.
I also have a lot of stickers. Stickers I found to be a really good incentive, like for helping pass out papers, or they love stickers, and even just like everybody gets a sticker at the end, but you tell them it's gonna be like a prize or something. They love stickers. So,
yeah.
I'm happy to give you guys mine.
We play bingo, which is something I didn't put in here yet, but I'll put in for the next 4 weeks. But we play bingo with yoga poses. Great. It keeps them really focused, but they're also.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
that'd be so fun.
And of course, the winner gets to pick out of a bowl of toys or whatever, whatever it is, stickers or whatever's on sale at the dollar store. But then by the end, everybody gets to get one. But it's just the winner gets it first. That's all. And it keeps them playing the game. It keeps them
engaged,
active and engaged, rather than giving up because they didn't win. We keep going until everybody has a turn, or if not, we'll play a different game and those winners can get it first. So if you make a gratitude journal, then each week they can work in it, find something they're grateful for. Or if you do the gratitude jar, each week you can begin and/or end by picking out a gratitude and seeing who, maybe somebody says, oh, that was mine, and somebody else says, no, that was mine too, and we're all grateful for our pets or whatever. So just a reminder that every day we have things to be grateful for. Obstacle course, my favorite thing.
That's a fun one.
Was so good. So I used it for my 300 hour that I was just taking, and I used it as one of the class samples. So I have this well put together little piece, but it's not all you can do, but it's some of the ideas you can do. So I liked it outside a lot, but we have done it inside in the gym. And it's so fun. Like we do the floor is lava with the blocks. So you have to from one to the next. And then if you fall off, I had one where if you fall off one of them, you have to look underneath the block and there's a pose you have to do. And then I have a yoga dice, which I'll give to you guys with stickers on it. Each side is a different pose. So you go from one station to the other. And then I had string or yarn all in an area all around where they have to follow it with their feet. So they have to walk all along the curvy sections and back around. And sometimes I have them do it from two ends. So one kid starts here, one kid starts here, and they both have to do it. And at some point, they're going to have to work around getting it across. Yeah. Toga with pom-poms. So one section is with the little pom-poms on the mat. Have to pick them up with their feet, walk to the end of the mat, put them in a bucket, walk back and collect them, see how many they can do. Feathers in a jar, standing over a jar, see how many you can drop into the receptacle. Balance on a tree, balance and tree on a block for 5 breaths. So they're kind of like stations, and I might have a map there to show them where each station is. That might help. Pick a card and do that pose. Another station, barrel of monkeys. So I looked for more barrels of monkeys and I couldn't find them this time. But in the dollar store, they have a cheap knockoff of barrel of monkeys, and it's so much more useful than I ever thought it would be. Like, they love it. First of all, they didn't grow up with the game, so they have no idea what it is. Like, oh, brand new game. And it's like, no, but it's really good for focus and concentration. And some of them will just get so determined. It's really beautiful to see them learn how to do it and concentrate so well on one thing. And then walk from one point to another with a Beanie Baby on your head. And then try to sit down with it on your head and stand up without dropping the item. So balance, control, focus, posture, all that. And then, you know, any more ideas you have or any you want to change, feel free. But I would have about probably 10, if you can, 10. If not, 5 is good. They'll go through it more than once too. They like it. They really like it. They want to go through it a few times. So anything silly you can think of, just break it up so that it's, you know, all different. Like when they're sitting down focusing, and when they're like trying the singing bowl, or when they're balancing, or when they're doing a new pose or whatever. It's been really, really fun. And I would do that. You know, like I said, we're in here to get them to love yoga, and however we do it is good. So it may not be a really structured class like even another kids class might be, but if there's more games than not, but they like it, then it's a win for everybody, you know?
Okay.
So I do have these, Jan and I put together a little presentation for Kids Yoga Conference. And so a lot of these we have written out like a little handout. So some of them are like, you know, some of them are obvious oh, I forget what I just saw. Musical mats, obviously we know that one. But there are a lot more in there too, like mirroring each other. So you pick a partner, you have you're a mirror of the other person. You're not touching each other, but you're trying to copy exactly what they're doing. So they can, without losing, you know, eye contact with each other. So you're following each other's movements. Let's see what else. Drawing your breath is another fun one. In addition to the tracing thing, they can have a piece of paper and they're closing their eyes. And when they breathe in, they're making a mark, probably up. And then when they breathe out, they're coming down. When you're done, the reason it's fun is because when you're done, like maybe 10 or so breaths, they all flip it around and they can't see what they've done. They flip it around and they all show each other, and they're all completely different. Like some are big and some are peaky and some are really smooth and rounded. And it's just like kind of a nice reminder how we all started with the same thing. We all started with a piece of paper and a pen, and we created something totally different with it. Same as coloring, like it's not, none of them are identical. They came out so different from each other, that it reminds you that you're really special and unique. There's nothing the same about you. There's nothing that's not special about you. Oh yeah, things like a spoon and a marshmallow game, or you wouldn't do with that, but maybe a spoon and a pom-pom. Relay races are fun, and they get to do a lot of different things. That way it doesn't have to be all sports. There could be a lot of yoga in there too. You could have to move in downward dog position or something like that, rather than running. You know, you could move in I don't know, move in mountain pose or whatever, but adding the yoga into normal kids games that we do. There's a great game which I absolutely love, which I do now with all the kids, and it's called Cat Dog Snake, or Cat Snake Dog, and I'll give you the handout for it. So they learn the 3 poses: cat, dog, and cobra, and got to make sure they know them all so they can do them really quick. And they turn back to each other, 2 at a time is usually how I do it, in the middle of the circle. And you do like rock, paper, scissors. So the class does cat, dog, snake, go. And when they say go, the kids are back to back, and they have to move into one of those poses, but they can't see what the other one's doing. So you have to always use the legend here, because I can't remember. Cat pose scares away snake, snake scares away dog, and dog scares away cat. They learn this way faster than I ever have. So I just ask them, so who won? They tell me. So when they're in the pose, sometimes it's a tie, and then they have to get up and do it again. But if the kids one is in dog and one's in cat, then dog stays, because that's the winner, and cat comes out, and another person takes their place. So they're playing the winner, sort of. So am I being clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Rock, paper, scissors. That was like a helpful analogy.
Exactly the same thing, but it's with 3 yoga poses. I've tried many times to think of new ones to put in there, but I can't. They just don't make sense, like frog, or I don't know. So I stick with this.
I think that's great.
But they're doing
Let
it.
them, maybe a fun one would be for them to make up one after you play that game one time, and after you learn a lot of poses together. Maybe let them come up with
Great.
three others. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Find another 3. They don't have to necessarily be realistic, because
Yeah.
cats really don't scare snakes, but we don't care. So
Yeah, they just have to think of the rules.
we can find just 3 new poses. So it's chair, mountain, and frog. And one would beat the other. That's a good idea. So they love this one.
Okay.
Highly recommend. And then there's one piece that I kept in here, even though I meant to redo it, but I was too tired. There are some games where you could have sort of a winner and a loser, sort of like that. And if you had a group doing it, this is how I learned it in the training, but it's harder for me to keep track of with a group of kids. But if you have a group of independent kids and they could do snake, dog, cat separately, without me judging them, without me, the class judging, then when they lose, so to speak, they pick a challenge card, and they have to do 5 push-ups or 10 jumping jacks or whatever. And the winner just goes to somewhere else in the circle and meets another winner, and they do that. They do the game again and again and again. So there's like a longer version of it. But the classes I've had, they don't mind waiting on this one, and it goes pretty fast. So there's always going to be a winner, and then there's always going to be someone who comes out and gives their place to somebody else. So it goes pretty fast. In my opinion, doing it 2 at a time is a good way to start.
Okay.
But it's a really fun one. So what I'm hoping is that with the first lesson plans, and there's probably more than enough in each lesson, but that's okay, because we always need more just in case. Is that after our 4 weeks, our first 4 weeks, which could be 8 weeks, because you could have 2 groups or 3 groups even, is that we then examine what worked and what didn't again, and plan another 4 to 6 weeks. The other lesson plan that I thought would be really good for this group is about planting seeds, which is another program we have that we usually do in the spring. So it involves what kind of seeds are you planting, you know, in your life, planting seeds for, if we're studying, then we're planting seeds for good grades, or for doing well in school, if we're learning something new, if we're planting seeds of kindness, just the whole process of how we are sort of like plants, kind of rooted and growing, and we have a lot of faith that if we practice things, we will get better at them. Sort of like planting a seed and knowing that it will grow into something positive. And then, of course, we have real seeds to plant. So that's the funner part of it, you know, is that we make it an actual physical dirt and seed thing. I have the bean wrapped in plastic, wrapped in paper towel, that I'm hoping will grow before my first class so I can show them. I don't know, I haven't done it since kindergarten, so I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but I'm trying. And then just getting them to get to understand plants and how they work. So it's sort of biology and yoga together.
Yeah.
And it's one of the really popular ones, so I hope that it would go well with this group. Again, we're gonna focus more on the activity than the, you know, than the reading about plants and things like that. Probably not gonna be a good group for that, but that's okay. We're gonna balance it out. Like Liz said, you know, these kids are sitting for 7 hours already. It's really their time to
Check out
to
within a structure. Within a structure.
to follow what their bodies tell them and their minds tell them, and make sure we have plenty of options, that we keep moving. We don't do anything for a long enough time that people are bored. We move right along to another thing.
Yeah.
With the exception that if you find something that works and they love it, I let them do it till the end of class if they like it. So I give up a lot of other stuff. It's like, yeah, if you want to keep playing, let's keep playing. Because that just means they're having fun, and I don't want
Flexibility, yeah. Kind of
There's
just
no-
reading the room and
right. There's no
keeping them
agenda
engaged.
on our part except for them to walk away feeling better than they came in, you know.
Yes.
And everything else is just a little suggestion, kind of, to, you know, what we might try to feel better. That hand thing you can go to anytime. You can do that anytime during the, you know, maybe you have it as a refresher or before an activity.
Maybe I like lost their attention there for a second, and like a good way to drop them back in.
Come back to the breath or something that they're familiar with.
Okay.
Put it in there again.
There's a
Anything
question.
else, Liz, that you have to add?
I can't think of anything at the moment. I think that having like a lot of activities that you can choose from, and I think giving them options is really fun. Like sometimes I would ask them what they want to start with, and you know, have like 5 options for the whole class, and you're gonna do like 3 of them, for example. Like have a couple that you won't use that time, but like just be like over prepared. I don't know if that's something you guys already do. I think Lenora, you definitely do, and you just have it all in your brain a lot of the times, I think. But having a lot more than what you're actually going to use is nice.
That is true. And when I started adding this to my like introduction to teaching kids yoga, it's kind of like a little teaser to the training, you know, the full training. But it's have a plan be serious about your plan and then be happy to scrap your plan. That's the whole key for me. It's like, go in there with an intention, but be ready anytime to flip it in a different direction, because it's not about, sometimes I do go in with this attitude like, oh, I can't wait to do this with the class today. They're gonna have, I'm gonna teach them this, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna have, so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And I get in there and the room is totally different than what I had planned, and there's no way it's gonna happen. And I find myself disappointed because I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. And then I realized, well, it's really about them. It's not about me.
No.
And be ready, if your great idea, this great story you had and they hate it, it's totally okay. Another group is gonna love it. And and maybe it's just the day or the time, the hour, the stars, whatever.
So I did want to share with you some of the dates I know for sure I won't be able to teach.
Great. Okay, so
Like,
you're
feel like
on,
get super ahead of it, right? And like the ones I for sure know.
yeah, because we'll for sure have subs. So yes, absolutely.
Let's see. So the 9th, I won't be here that week. Well, I'll actually be in Mexico.
Okay, all right.
I will be in Mexico from the 9th. Yeah, so that's that's why I wanted to put it on your radar like right now, because that's
Of February or which month?
of
February.
February.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard because I would be starting with them and then they wouldn't see me for a week. But so there's that one.
Mhm.
And then there is my my kiddos' spring break is March 23rd. I'm not sure if that aligns with
It does.
District 2. Okay, so we
It
won't be
does.
there. We won't be in that, I'm assuming.
Okay,
Right.
so I have the last class before spring break is on the 17th. And they pick up again on the 29th.
Again on the 29th. Okay, so we're good there.
It should be okay. Okay, good.
And then should be good for that. When does this end? May? When does
I
school?
think
Is it like May
Well,
I think
usually
it's
ends before Memorial Day, but they might be adding
20?
days.
Like our kiddos' school ends May 25th. So May 18th is when I leave for my retreat.
Okay.
And then I'm going to give you this possible date as well, just to be
Okay.
on the safe side. But I might not need a sub. April 6th.
Okay,
And that's it right now.
okay, perfect.
Pending, like I do have 2 little ones that
I
are
know, I know.
is, and like and
Yeah,
but
hopefully, between Audrey and me,
mhm.
and I have one more teacher, and Carol said
And
she would do-
Rian, and I think Carol even said the last meeting that like
Yeah.
even if it was a sub, she might be able to do it.
Yeah. probably
I
start.
never have too many options.
Yeah, so we should have plenty, and we're gonna have whether or not you stick to the script, it's okay, but we'll have the plan for people in case somebody has to come in and fill in quick for you. At least we'll have a plan, we'll have the materials and things like that ready for them.
I think and I think it's great, like just to have something to like reference to like kind of inspire your plan or
Yeah.
or just like it's one of those weeks and you're like, I'm gonna pick from, I'm gonna do this activity. I mean, I think that's so helpful. I think it is, it takes a lot off of the teacher having to curate it all, especially when it's already been done and what works and what doesn't exactly work well.
And we don't want to, and we also want to bring some consistency to the plan.
Yeah,
So that,
like picking with peace and then moving into the gratitude. And then
one school says yoga was horrible this year, and another school says yoga was fabulous this year. We have no way to compare unless we know that we were working from something similar, So what didn't you like? So if somebody comes in with their whole new plan, their whole new way of doing yoga.
It's
we
hard to
have
track
really-
it. There's no
we can't-
consistent.
We can't measure the program, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. So it's a fine line between like your own, well, it's not really a fine line. Number one, we want you to be who you are and teach what you love in the best way that you know. So otherwise we would just record all this and send it to the school, right? So, it's definitely you first, but having a structure and then knowing, like Liz and I were able to say, well, this, this whole idea of writing down stuff did not work because their literary skills were way different than what we expected.
It costs
So-
more triggers than it did benefits to
Did fun.
having that.
Absolutely, right?
you know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So now we know, even when I do bingo, I don't ask them to read. We do like, obviously some of the kids are fine, down dog. I found it, I have it, but
Hey,
then
Lenora, do you have a picture and the word on the bingo? I think having both would be nice.
I don't, but that's a really good idea. That's
Yeah,
a
the
really
pose
good idea. I'm gonna
picture
do
or the
that.
sticker. I was thinking just the
Yeah.
sticker even with the word underneath it would be nice if it aligns with that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
So are you
Yep.
sending all of this through like a PDF? Like, will you email like a PDF version of all of?
I would, even though in bingo, something like that, I would probably print out for you a nice,
Okay,
you could have, so it's a little more
yeah,
hands-on, and then the pieces, the call pieces I cut up for you. So yeah, I have
Okay.
that's like that. But that's a really good idea, Liz. I'm gonna do that. The other thing I do is say, like down dog, it's 2 words and they both start with a D. So it's kind of helping them a little bit. They usually find it that way. And by then if they know their letters.
you can drop some hints.
So it helps them a little bit recognize it. And then they do get excited when they find it, like, oh, I have it. And so that's fun too. But I think the stickers for
Okay.
a really good idea, or just a little stick drawing maybe on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna add that to the bingo.
Yeah, like on the pages that we had, you had the image that they could put the sticker over if they wanted to. Just the printer image is good too.
Yeah, totally. That's a great idea. I like that. That's on my new list.
Awesome.
Okay. So I'll send these out to you if you want, unless you prefer to have printed copies. What do you guys want?
I'm a PDF. Like if you email it to me, I'll be able to pull it up on my computer. And if there's something that I feel like I need to print, I'll just print it.
Okay.
Lenora, I would like
have
to
so
meet
much
up with you
paper.
if possible. Lenora, I would love to meet up with you if possible, and I can give you like my physical stuff back that you might need for other teachers or just printouts, whatever it is. And then if I could get the first 2 weeks that I'm going to be teaching just those 2 in print copies, that would be great for me. So we can exchange.
Yep, I have it for you. So
Thank
that's
you.
perfect.
I guess it is helpful to have it in printed, isn't it? Because if you wanted to take a plan with you, so to speak,
You will
to
not have Wi-Fi at the school, so
Yeah.
I would recommend paper.
paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
Will you print me one?
I will. I have them printed
Okay.
on I'm happy to give them to you. I have one for each
Okay.
teacher. So
Wonderful.
they can kind of stay with the class, sort of. I mean, you can bring them home, but
Yeah.
they'll be for that school session. And please keep, I know it's a lot to ask, but after class, if you can, just sit for a minute and maybe scribble some notes about what went well and what didn't, because it would be awesome if we could just keep compiling like Liz has and Audrey has,
Feedback.
giving me feedback, and then having a much better idea of where to expand and make it better. And then some ideas can just, I just don't need to incorporate in every class because they're not as popular as or effective or whatever as we thought.
Mhm.
So it's not at all a criticism. It's really just to help in developing
Okay,
the curriculum. So I really appreciate that.
okay, definitely can do that. Will you be there on Wednesday when I go to Centennial?
I think I might be.
Okay, so I could
That's
grab the
this coming week, right?
printed.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
I'll definitely get you all that. So I need to get you the maps.
okay,
Liz doesn't need maps, but I'm gonna get her a printed copy. And you a printed copy and whatever materials you might like, I don't know, whatever I have here, pom-poms, markers. A whole plethora of things, glue sticks, scissors, things like that for your toolkit.
okay. I'm putting this in my calendar.
Okay, me too. And if I'm not there on Wednesday for any reason,
Ye-
I will meet up with you before the following Wednesday and make sure I get you everything.
Okay,
Okay,
awesome.
all right.
Lenore,
I
do
think-
you
Or
want to talk
anything,
on the phone?
What's that?
I can pop off if you guys want to chat now.
Oh, no, I was just thinking, Lenore, we should arrange a time to exchange stuff. But we can talk about that offline.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Whenever
Cool.
you're probably busier than I am, so you can let me know. Maybe what
Okay,
works
can I
for
just
you.
call you when we're done with Zoom?
Absolutely.
Cool, sounds good. I'm gonna hop off then. I'll see you guys later.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nora.
Thank you. See you soon. Have a good day.
You too.